Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's broadcast. Friends, always remember that no matter who is in the White House, Jesus is on the throne. No matter who is against us, Christ is for us. And no matter what things look like with the human eye, we are surrounded by the heavenly host of the one true King. They are always right here with us. Now, I want to start off with this news report with a refreshing story, something beautiful. There is a California super bloom springing to life. The whole state of California will be blanketed with a carpet of wildflowers, abundant wildflowers. So if you're there, get your pictures while you can, share them with us. And it could be short-lived, though, because of colder temperatures. And I always try to find the beauty in God's creation, and photography is just one way to really appreciate these kind of events. Now, tomorrow marks the official start of spring in the Northern Hemisphere after one of the warmest winters on record. However, more than half of the U.S. population this week will experience temperatures at or below freezing. So you better cover your plants if you've got your spring garden going like me. Tomorrow, temperatures will be 10 to 15 degrees cooler than normal for this time of year. So I may have to go out there and put a sheet over my little garden. Friends, I want to encourage you to pray over your gardens. Pray, ask the Lord to protect them and give you the wisdom how to have a really abundant harvest this year. And by all means, learn how to do various methods of food preservation, such as canning and dehydrating. Make those your personal goals this year. You don't have to live on a farm to be, into food preservation. Be on the lookout for garage sales and even on Marketplace for mason jars, mason lids, and other canning equipment, because these are important things for preserving the food integrity for your family. And then we have Russian President Vladimir Putin. Big news. He will rule Russia for another 6 years in a landslide victory yesterday. He was congratulated by Iran, China, North Korea, amongst others, and it was his greatest political victory ever. Vladimir Putin amassed more than 87% of the vote, according to preliminary results. Of course, he had no real opponents, and he said in his victory speech that Russia is united behind him. And then he also mentioned the death of his opponent, Alexei Navalny. It was an unfortunate incident. Western leaders say that the election was undemocratic. Russian opponents showed their displeasure of Putin during the election process. It took over 3 days by pouring dye into ballot boxes. There were arson attacks and even drone attacks. So these antics were blamed on Ukraine, of course. Now, what I want to say is with 1,231 days until our next presidential election, we need to continue to cover our democratic process in our prayers. And moving on, we have the Supreme Court. It is set to debate whether the White House crossed the line with the First Amendment in trying to stop social media disinformation. This is big news. This is important news and a prayer point. Biden administration officials have for years persuaded social media platforms to take down posts that include what they call misinformation about vaccines, the COVID-19 pandemic, and the 2020 election, among other things. But now the Supreme Court has to decide whether those efforts have gone too far. When the government, in other words, veers into censorship on social media, violating our very important First Amendment rights. So this case could prove pivotal to the 2024 election. And this is why we need to be praying over our leaders every day. The devil wants to make toilet paper out of our God-breathed Constitution. He does. It is the supreme law of the United States, and it gives all of us freedom of speech, amongst other things. So let's see if the Department of Homeland Security can continue to legally flag post on to social media companies at the end of this debate. Now, I pray that the Supreme Court will be guided by the Lord, and I pray that no weapon formed against them bringing true justice will prosper, even if they are receiving threats, because they may not rule in favor of the World Economic Forum. The World Economic Forum, who wants to crush free speech all across the globe. So I thank the Lord for the spirit of truth, and I am glad that today we can still continue to speak the truth. Well, one of the planet's most active volcanoes in Iceland is acting up again. Iceland's most famous Blue Lagoon and the nearby town of Grindavik, they were evacuated Saturday following a volcanic eruption in Reykjanes Peninsula. Anti-lava barriers outside this area, they're holding up, but there has been no damage to critical infrastructure since the eruption. Iceland is one of the most active volcanic areas on the earth, and rather than having a central volcano, the Reykjanes Peninsula is dominated by a rift valley with lava fields and cones. I pray for the safety and the protection of these people in this area. It is a hotbed waiting to explode. So let's remember those people today in our prayers. Well, Chicago, it dyed its river green again, once again to honor St. Patrick's Day, drawing a massive crowd, which included many Irish, a lot of alcohol, a lot of costumes, and a lot of dye. This tradition has been going on for nearly 70 years, and they do not dye their rivers green in Ireland. And I did see on the news the color red was also being released into the river to mix up these colors. And no one is allowed to know the so-called magical recipe. I wonder why. I mean, didn't they ban certain dyes in other states? Just California, just a few months back, they banned red food dyes because of its dangerous health effects. So is this a man-made chemical spill to poison the waters, all in the name of fun and partying? I'm telling you, it's just something isn't sitting right with me. They say it's a magical recipe no one is allowed to know. It's a secret. And according to the union that is responsible for transforming the river to green, it's environmentally safe, they say, and it only lasts for 5 hours. So again, I'm not buying it, but that's just my opinion. I'm not a scientist. What if those dyes get into the drinking water? If you are an expert on this topic, maybe you could chime in the comment section below. We'd be very curious what your input is. Now, I wonder in this last story, if it is being put out there on the news to cause a major rift between the migrants and the U.S. citizens. Because I know the devil loves to pit certain groups of people against each other. Here is the story. Tyson Foods boycotted as it sacks 1,300 staff at an Iowa pork plant and offers job and lawyer packages in bid to hire 4,200 asylum seekers in New York. So here's the nuts and bolts of the story. Tyson Foods is closing plants in Iowa, Virginia, Arkansas, Indiana, and Missouri. The company says it wants to double its immigrant hires to 8,400 this year. Angry shoppers are boycotting Tyson food products as it closes plants and hires thousands of asylum seekers at job fairs in New York. Now, what are they trying to entice these people with? They're trying to entice them with $16.50 an hour wages and free immigration lawyers. Well, that sounds like a good deal to me. Tyson is accused of ditching U.S.-born workers for cheaper migrant labor. Now, campaigners for this are urging consumers to stop buying Tyson products amid its wave of closures of poultry and meat processing plants across Iowa, Virginia, Arkansas, Indiana, and Missouri. There is a conservative action group that was launched by former Trump administration officials. It's called America First Legal. It warned Tyson that it could be breaking the law by favoring foreign-born workers over Americans. They wrote in a comment, it is illegal under federal law to discriminate against American citizens based on their citizenship in favor of non-citizens of any kind when it comes to employment. Tyson Foods, they are based in Springdale, Arkansas, and they made over $52 million in sales last year through the sale of its products named Jimmy Dean, Hillshire Farm, Ballpark, Wright, Adels, and other brands, and they did not answer DailyMail.com's request for a comment. And I can see why. So if you are one of the Americans who has a job, because unemployment is growing, don't believe the numbers that they are releasing. If you do have a job, you better hold on to it. You better thank the Lord for it. Take care of it. Treasure it. You don't have to love your job, but you've got to take care of your family. And we are commanded in the Bible to do everything as though we are doing it unto the Lord. So bless the Lord by honoring him in your workplace. And then as you see the migrants coming into the workforce, don't be angry at them. Pray for them. Show them the love of Christ. Maybe the Lord has brought them here so that they can be introduced to the gospel. Shine your light no matter what is going on around you. And don't forget to always remember to pray over your water, over your food, over everything with thanksgiving. So don't be a grumbler like the Israelites were. Their outcome wasn't very good, was it? So show a constant attitude of gratitude to the Lord. Friends, that's a wrap for today. Seho and I, we bless all of you. Have a safe day and continue to cover this nation in your prayers. And I'll be giving an update tomorrow on the progress of the little Bible school that we are trying to build there in Kenya. We thank you all for your help in the various feeding programs and the projects that the Lord is calling all of us to do. Whatever the Lord has called you to do, friends, let's work diligently while there is light. All right, have a great day.